Welcome to Spiritual and Ambitious. I'm your host, Whitney McNeil. I'm a certified medium and spiritual teacher, and I help spiritual and ambitious souls just like you live your life purpose through your career and attract abundance by connecting into your intuition and spirit guides. Let's get spiritual and ambitious. Welcome to our 27th episode. That's a celebration because that means I've been podcasting for half a year. I cannot believe that we got started in January, and I'm so excited that this podcast was birthed this year. I'd love for you to celebrate with me in the podcast review giveaway. You can go to messengerofspirit.com/podcast review. And I'd also love for you to say hi to me over on Instagram at instagram.com/messenger of spirit. All right. Today we're getting into how do you stay aligned to your intuition, abundance, and purpose when the world seems pretty crazy. If you're asking yourself this question, then most likely you are energy sensitive. First and foremost, let's just recognize that we're human. All right. So I know that you've been really wanting to connect to your intuition and your guides, and you have been doing that for a while. Sometimes we can feel so aligned and loving life, and all of a sudden, the next day, we feel like we're in a funk. Whether it's the universal energies going on in the planets, whether something in your environment felt like it just kind of knocked you off, maybe a sickness, maybe a loss, maybe you just don't know why, and you just feel unaligned. This is normal, and it's why I recommend consistency. So I'm going to be giving you tips to help you stay aligned. And obviously, the first one is to be consistent in your spiritual practice. That's the time when most people bail and say, I can't do this, or I don't have the time for this. When in fact, talking to your spirit guides can, one, bring you healing, comfort, peace, and having a clear communication with what they need to help you with. Those times where we feel so disconnected are the times that we really need to lean into our intuition, but also not being hard on ourselves when our schedule falters with our intuitive exercises. What I want you to do is to look at how you're connecting to spirit, and maybe the way that you're connecting to spirit is changing. Meaning, if you feel like you want to sit on the couch and eat the potato chips and binge watch those movies, some days we actually just need to let ourselves do it. And the way that you connect to spirit might not necessarily be in a formal meeting with them or doing intuitive exercises that day, but how can you still stay connected? One, know that your spirit guides are with you no matter what is going on, and they're here to help you. So you can just simply ask. You could say, hey, I need some help with this. Can you please show me that you're here? Now, if you feel like you're in a super funk, then your spirit guides might start giving you number patterns. So for me, I have a couple number patterns, but lately I've been seeing 444, 444 everywhere I go. And I know that they're around. Maybe you want to journal. Journaling can be a great way to release what's going on in your energy system. And you can write down all your thoughts or all the things that you want your spirit guides to help you with. And that's a great way to connect. Or maybe you're like, I can't even think. I don't even want to process right now. I just want to be. Well, you can talk to your spirit guides right before you go to sleep and ask them to help you with whatever's going on, or just simply saying, hey, I don't have anything to say right now, but I'm open and willing to receive your advice and your guidance, but I don't know what to do. Also, you might want to hang out in nature. That is a fantastic way to connect to your spirit guides just by being in nature. And when we do this, we can feel so connected and we can feel so light. It's almost like that funk just kind of lifts off. So staying consistent doesn't necessarily mean you're repeating the same things over and over each day, but just having that connection and consistency with them, kind of like a reaching out. It reminds me of sending a text to your best friend or your family member and saying, hey, I don't have the energy to talk right now, but I just wanted to let you know I'm thinking about you. So I want you to think of it like that. But on those days when we do feel like we have more energy, of course, I recommend consistent exercises with your guides, whether it's daily, weekly, monthly, however you want to do this. So inside of my program Aligned, we actually have something each week for members to connect to their spirit guides and intuition with. So whether it's a channeled message, whether it is a hot seat to find out what's going on, or a live Q&A to ask me questions and I give them answers, or whether it's participating in one of the surprise events or the quarterly spirit circles, knowing that it can look different each time. And you get to decide what your consistency looks like. Maybe it's once a quarter, like we have our spirit circles, or maybe it is once a week or once a month. So knowing that setting consistency is going to be helpful. Now, the next thing I'm going to say that you need is support. Now, not only do you have support from your spirit guides, but support on the earth plane can be so helpful. So if you're looking around right now feeling like, I don't have anybody that gets me, then I'm going to encourage you to seek that out and ask your spirit guides to help bring you to a place where you can connect with others. It doesn't have to be in person. It can be online as well. That's one of the things that I love inside of Aligned is that we have consistent Zoom meetings and we have a private online group. So you can reach out to the community whenever you need. For me, it was very instrumental in having people that understood me. And I met people through taking classes. That was a huge one. I wanted to develop my intuition and my mediumship. Oh, I'm going to take a class. And the other students taking the classes, I could relate to and resonate with. I remember the first time I ever took an energy healing class. I've met another person in the waiting area and she looked at me and said, "You look normal." And that person has been one of my best friends for years. So if you feel like you don't have that support in your family, or you don't have that support around you in your current friend circle, it's time to start shifting into finding new people. So ask your spirit guides to help you, but also it takes a little bit of a push for you to do that too. They can give you the ideas, but you actually have to say, I'm ready for new people coming into my life. And just as a reminder, new relationships don't have to feel like you have to expend all this energy. You get to decide what type of relationship you're forming. It can be more of an acquaintance. It can be a class where you get to ask questions and have support in that way, or you might form lifelong bonds. Now, when we come back after this quick break, I'm going to be talking about the different cycles of alignment and where you might be feeling it right now. Stay tuned. If you're a spiritual and ambitious soul who wants to live your life purpose through your career and is looking for a way to stay aligned to your intuition, your spirit guides, your life purpose, and your manifesting abilities for abundance, then I want you to listen in. I would love to invite you to apply for my Aligned Spiritual Mentorship Program. Aligned is for the committed, spiritual, and ambitious soul who wants to elevate their intuition, their connection to their guides, and truly make a change in this world by living their purpose, all while attracting more abundance. The members inside of this mentorship are ready to go to their next level, and they know that they have to be consistent in receiving support and honing their intuitive abilities. If you're looking for mentorship, coaching, and tools to stay aligned on a consistent basis, I'd love for you to apply. Each month, I get to channel messages, work with members inside of my hot seat coaching sessions to help them move past their blocks, answer their questions, and we have a spirit surprise. We've had guest experts about all different spiritual topics with live sessions, workshops with me, training, and even surprise readings. I like to say that Aligned is like a spiritual buffet. We give you all these tools and resources, and you get to consume what you're spiritually hungry for. One of my favorite components of Aligned is the support. When you're in a virtual room with other people who are seriously committed to their path and their purpose, it changes the game. Not only does it help you elevate your vibration, but we can collectively manifest together. You can learn more and apply at messengerofspirit.com/aligned. As a professional psychic medium, I've done tens of thousands of readings, but I felt a call to move more fully into teaching intuition. But I still get so many requests about doing readings. So while I don't do readings anymore, I have brought in some very trusted colleagues who are now available for live 1 hour readings on Zoom. If you would like to book your psychic medium reading, go to messengerofspirit.com/appointments to see our available readers and schedule your Zoom reading today. All right, we are back. So we talked about consistency and we talked about support, but let's talk about what the cycle of alignment might look like. Well, when we feel aligned, we feel like we're on fire in a good way. We feel like things are working out for us. We feel like, yes, this is what I'm meant for. That does not mean that we are now exempt from having challenges in our life. Those challenges can be opportunities and, in fact, lessons that we need to learn. Whenever we run into a perceived challenge, we can say, oh, what is this trying to teach me? And often it is a sign that it is time to pivot. Everything that we think or do, every relationship that we have, and even our job is a cycle. If you can imagine emitting a thought into the universe, it emits in a wave of energy, almost like a circular wave. And think of these thoughts as bubbles going out into the universe and sending out these energies. If you think of them as bubbles, you'll see that some bubbles hang around for a long time while other bubbles pop really quickly. Well, that's a representation of you can speed your cycle up or slow your cycle down. Now, those relationships that you have in your lives for years and years, lifelong ones, those are longer cycles. Whereas the other relationships that come and go are shorter cycles. You know, those thoughts that you've had for 10 years and you haven't taken any action on them? Well, those thoughts are coming back around because you've not finished the cycle and it's still there. Whereas those small little trivial tasks that you do each and every day are short cycles. Even the waves of energy that you have each day, those are cycles too. What happens is we come into this place of awareness where we're like, something feels really off. I feel funky. I don't know what's going on. And then as we progress, we move into more of this awakening phase where we're like, what's going on here? Now, how can I shift out of it? Like, ding, 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 I need to fix this. And then when we start taking action on those things, it feels a little bit like I'm in uncomfortable territory and it feels kind of awkward. And that's what I call the growing phase. Then when we start making these new changes in our lives and we implement it each and every day, we move into the integration phase. Then we move into the healing phase, and then the releasing phase, and then the embodiment phase. So these are the cycles of alignment. And a lot of the times we think, whoo, I completed one. But as your vibration becomes lighter, you begin to perhaps experience the same cycles at a different perspective to make sure that you've either completed a cycle or that you're continuing the cycle. And this is something that I teach inside of my Aligned Spiritual Mentorship. We focus on 4 pillars: your intuition, your manifesting, your abundance, and your life purpose. When we have those 4 pillars together, we are able to feel like we're in alignment. This also happens with our bodies, our physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual bodies. Sometimes we can get really overwhelmed with thinking, oh my gosh, I have to fulfill my purpose. Oh my gosh, I have to connect my intuition. And we can get really overwhelmed. And the world already feels really overwhelming. If we can just focus in on one aspect at a time, knowing that we are aligning and shifting each and every day, those little steps that we're taking add up. So if you're out there and you're feeling a little funky right now, know that you might feel like, I'm just in the awareness phase. I'm going into a new cycle. Or maybe you are in the releasing phase where you are releasing and you're crying, or you're releasing and you're just kind of what I call detoxing, where everything feels kind of funky. This could just be part of your alignment cycle. So knowing which part of the alignment cycle you're in is going to be really important. All right. Well, if you're ready to stay aligned, I hope that you apply for my Aligned Spiritual Mentorship, and you can go to messengerspirit.com/aligned. I'll be back with a brand new episode next week. But until then, here's to staying spiritual and ambitious. Thanks so much for listening to this episode. And if you loved it, would you please share it with a friend? I would also love your review and a reminder to subscribe so you never miss an episode. You can find me at messengerspirit.com, and you can take the 4 Intuitive Languages quiz and find show notes there too. If you want to connect on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram, you can find me at Messenger of Spirit. If you want to continue the conversation, join my free Facebook group at messengerofspirit.com/group. I'll meet you right here next week. Here's to staying spiritual and ambitious.
This podcast is part of the Sound Advice FM network. Sound Advice FM. Women's voices amplified.